my next step was to be a record producer, because that was really interesting me. Wrote around all the record companies, eventually got various replies saying no vacancies for that. EMI came back saying no vacancy for that, we do have a vacancy for a label manager, which I had not a clue what they were talking about, but I thought, this is a record company job, I'm going to go in for this. They explained what it was. I genuinely thought at the time it was like that you stick the labels on the records. I thought that's what a label manager was. I really did. And but Roy Featherstone and Ron White were the sort of main guys there at the time, and they'd just taken on the MGM Verve label, which I think had been sort of independent until that point. They'd had their own offices, but now they were being taken over by EMI. And they said, yeah, do you feel you could do it? And I said, well, I'd really like to give it a go. But I mean, I was conning them. I had not a clue really what was involved in the job. I just had no idea. And I was literally just thrown into an office with piles and piles of tapes and records, some of which had been released, some hadn't. With in hindsight, all these phenomenal, art. I mean, the jazz catalogue of Verve Forecast was just the ultimate. And there was this sort of Wes Montgomery and Kenny Burrell and all the Decifenado, all the bossa nova stuff, with Marcos Valle, and then there was Laura Nyro on the folk side. There was Tim Hardin, and then you had the really avant-garde Velvet Underground. There was already a couple of albums, and looking back on it, it's absolutely criminal, because they put this guy in who had not a clue what the job involved, just sort of saying, well, go in there and sort that out, and it was like, so what out? What do you mean? And what they were kind of getting at was, well, some of these records we've got to release or re-release, or just sort of get a feel of what's there and see what we should be doing with this label we've now got, because they didn't seem to have a clue, what to do with it. Richie Havens, I mentioned, is one of the artists who in my first couple of weeks came over and was doing the Albert Hall at that point, and he was the very first artist I had to liaise with. And I was so nervous because I didn't really know what was involved in this. I just figured, got to take him out to dinner, So he'd come in to just meet a few of us in the daytime, and I said, so I took him aside and said, what are you doing tonight after the gig? Would you like to go out for a meal? Oh, sure, yeah, that'd be great. And I said, I didn't know what to. I said, do you like Indian food? And he said, oh, sure, that'd be great. I said, so what shall I do, come round after the gig and after backstage? Yeah, sure, just come round. Yeah. And so I went sat through the gig, went backstage, and I said, I've come to meet Richie Havens and take him out to dinner. Oh, he's left. Okay. So it was a completely deflating exercise. I never did get to take Richie Havens out to dinner. It was just like, and so I really shrank away from that again, thinking, I'm not going to enjoy this artist liaison stuff. It's going to be too hard. I won't know what to do. But luckily, that was a very unusual experience. Didn't tend to recur after that. I tended to, if I offered people dinner, they tended to accept.